AITA for yelling at my dad for kicking my boyfriend out over saying, "Bon appétit," to the guests. IF22 have been with my boyfriend M24 for over 9 months. He's sweet and polite, but my dad doesn't like him much. He has many classy friends and was hoping that I'd date one of their sons, but they're all self-centered and mean. Despite being mean to him in the past, my dad's become civil whenever my boyfriend visits. So last week my dad had important guests while we stopped by to visit. My mom insisted we have dinner with them. Dad didn't like it and kept making remarks about my boyfriend and how his outfit didn't fit the occasion, but we didn't know. My boyfriend excused himself to the bathroom, and before leaving the table he said, "Bon appétit," to the guests, then went to the bathroom. My dad followed him, and I followed Dad. I saw Dad arguing with my boyfriend near the bathroom. He was berating him for telling the guests "Bon appétit," which was insulting. Insulting how? I asked. He said it was insulting of my boyfriend, who isn't the host, to say these words to my dad's guests. As in he was inviting Dad's guests to eat when it's Dad who should be doing it. I pointed out that my boyfriend's mom is French, so it's pretty common, and besides Dad doesn't own the "Bon appétit" line, and at this point it was clear he was using this BS excuse to start shit. Dad said he felt disrespected and claimed that my boyfriend knew it was wrong and rude to do that. But this was nothing but a power play on my boyfriend's part and some sort of effed up mind game he was playing with Dad. WTAF fearful? Dad demanded that my BF leaves and not come back till he apologizes, and I quote, "No second chances. You disrespect me. You insult me in my house and you're out." I yelled at him and told him to get TF off that high horse and that he went too far with his ridiculous behavior and disrespect towards my BF. I said we won't be seeing him till he has a sincere apology and a proof to change. Then we left. Dad kept calling for days saying he wants me to come visit, but I refused. Not until this issue gets resolved. As expected, he's refusing to apologize, and Mom said I was being too hard on Dad by yelling and no longer visiting when it's not me who he argued with. I didn't budge. AITA? Power play on my boyfriend's part and some sort of effed up mind game he was playing with Dad. WTAF fearful? This is projection. Your father is the one making a power play on your boyfriend. Is it safe to assume you BF is lower on the economic ladder as your family, and that's what this is really about? Totally NTA. And I hope you stick to your guns and ignore your dad for longer. NTA, your dad is trying to force you to split with him. Dad won't let boyfriend in house until he apologizes. You won't return to Dad's place until Dad apologizes. NTA. Dad does owe you an apology. Your BF does not owe Dad an apology. Dad is the aw. NTA. You probably should spare your boyfriend from having to be around your egocentric and hostile father as much as possible. NTA, French person here. Everybody says bon appétit or bon appétit to everyone. It's the all point of the thing. Your dad is a dumbass who doesn't know what he is talking about. NTA. Your dad is controlling and used the bon appétit as an excuse to be in awe. I wonder what the other guests thought at his behavior. I bet they don't think your dad is as important, if that's how he conducts himself. What a bad host to abandon your important guests in order to go scream at another guest, and your dad did argue with you. So your mom is wrong. Stick to your guns op. Looks like your mom is happy to mess with the players behind the scenes, but accept no responsibility when, to be crass, Shit hits the fan. Possibly because your dad has an anger management issues and she is avoiding being the target of his rage, or because habit formed by living with someone abusive. As someone else said, your dad is trying to divide you and BF because he wants something different and doesn't care what you want. For you, I would give him time to cool down. Tell him that he needs to apologize and stop being tough, or your relationship will be in danger. But NTA. And your dad is absolutely tough for not laughing it off and speaking to you both after the fact. Dad's the asshole. He needs to get a grip. Who gets angry over stupid stuff like that? Tell him you'll date the men you like and he needs to get over it already. Don't bring your boyfriend back to that or subject him to it. If your dad's such an Emily Post or Martha Stewart, he should realize you don't go off on your guests. It's absolutely rude and inelegant. Your dad sounds like his money is new. NTA. NTA. Your dad is the one who's on a power trip here. He followed someone down the hall when that person was going to the bathroom. And he did this in order to start an argument with your boyfriend while he had guests at his table in his home. NTA. Your father was rude to a guest in his home and then compounded his rudeness by throwing a temper tantrum in full view of his other guests. Your father showed tremendous disrespect to his spouse, his daughter, his daughter's BF, and all of his guests. Your BF would be perfectly justified in refusing to ever spend another moment in your father's company, and I don't see why you'd want to spend time with him either. Because the bottom line is that your father doesn't respect you and neither does your mother. His refusal to apologize and her attempt to downplay the situation and paint your boundaries as being too hard on dad are nothing more than attempts to make you and your BF into the villains of this story. The fact that your father threw a tantrum because someone had the nerve to say, bon appetit, is mind-boggling. NTA. In fact, you sound like a pretty great girlfriend. I hear way too often how adults will fold to their parents' will when they get upset. I'm glad you didn't. As an asshole trying to get better, I can comfortably say picking some small nothing to focus on as an excuse to scream at someone you just don't like is a tried and true tool in the asshole's toolkit. Stick to your guns. Your dad's being a real pud. If you cave, you're just teaching him his behavior will continue to get him what he wants. Okay, real talk here. I'm a privately educated upper-class English twit person. My education included things like deportment, how long a coat must be in comparison to the skirt underneath, and how to enter and exit a vehicle without any embarrassing flashes. I know how to dress for any occasion. I know which fork and which glass to use for meal. I know what wines to serve with what dishes and courses. I know how to eat soup correctly, how to eat escargot, and I know how to curtsy to royalty. Yes, it's different from your normal stage-type curtsy. So, with my credentials laid out, please allow me to drop some truth bombs. Your boyfriend made a very slight social faux pas with his wishing people to enjoy their food when he was not the host. But it is so slight that it would not ever be worth mentioning. Intentions here are important, and your boyfriend was just trying to find a cheery way to excuse himself for a moment. There was no ill intent, and I sincerely doubt there was any offense taken by anyone other than your father. Speaking of, your father has not 1 ounce of class he so values in his entire body. The first and most important rule of etiquette, the one you must never break, the one that makes you automatically an asshole, is that you do not ever point out anyone else's bad manners in public, not even taking them aside to do so. If you are a very close friend, You can tactfully broach it in private at a later date. But intentionally embarrassing anyone is the biggest faux pas imaginable. Your father not only embarrassed an invited guest. Your mother invited you both. He probably embarrassed his other guests. People aren't idiots. They would have known or guessed what was going on. Your father is what would be condescendingly referred to as nouveau riche with pretensions of grandeur. If he were ever at an event among true, classy people, he would very quickly find himself socially shunned if he behaved in this manner, and his invitations would dry up faster than California during the drought season. Now, to be fair, I do not hold with most of the above pretensions. And I would not actually eat a snail if you paid me to. I just know how to. I personally couldn't give a flying fig if you eat your soup with a dessert spoon. A spoon is a spoon. Instead, I prefer to judge people on how kind they are, especially to those they view as lower than them in the social hierarchy. I'm happy to say that in this instance, formal etiquette also backs this up. If you have good manners, you treat a waiter with the same respect you treat the guests at your table. You are as nice to the janitors as you are to your boss. I'm sorry to say, your father is an uncouth pretender with as much class as one of the snails I refuse to eat. NTA. Dad is looking for something to bitch about, it seems to me. NTA. Your dad should seek professional help. Bone courage. NTA. He has many, classy, friends. Yet he has no issue acting like a jackass in front of them. I'm sorry, but if I was at a party and I saw my host run off to yell at someone and kick them out for this, I would think that's trashy as fuck. I say that as a redneck who lives in the middle of nowhere surrounded by farmers, trailer parks, and other rednecks. That's trashy. NTA. Your dad is full of merd. NTA at all. As far as this situation goes, your dad is overreacting. It seems like he hates your BF and was just taking this opportunity to argue with him. You should definitely hold out until he sincerely apologizes. Lol, this is wild. It's just a saying, and if you're not in France, I really don't think the sentiment that only the host should say it stands. Hell, my family would probably say it at Macca's. NTA. Info. Does your dad usually freak out about stupid stuff like this? Sounds very insecure.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.